The Incredible Digital Circus is truly incredible, as it has been the most talked about topic on the internet when it comes to animation. But did you know that Pomni's original concept was entirely different? In old sketches and designs that were rediscovered on the internet, we found some comic strips posted a few years ago on a comic website, where we discovered the original idea of Pomni. In this early concept, she was more like a harlequin, with a bizarre unicorn-like horn on her head. It seems that the creators might have thought it would be too bizarre for the show, which is already quite eerie, so they decided to remove this little detail. We've discovered many other fascinating facts about this animation that went viral due to its dark humor and sinister vibe, including a cool one about Jax, the purple rabbit that everyone found cool. And we're going to share them all with you now. There's a curiosity that is actually a reference that most people who watched the pilot of The Incredible Digital Circus thought it was just another senseless thing said by Kinger. It happens when Zubul is spit out of the Gloink Queen's body, and Kinger catches her in his hands and asks,
"Oh, thank God you're okay. You didn't experience a game show in there, did you?"
What are you talking about?
This question is actually a reference to a game created by Gooseworks, the person responsible for the story and design of the Digital Circus. It's a game called Runmo, released in 2019, where a green guy runs and needs to go through certain places, and in one of them, he's literally swallowed by a giant blue monster. Inside the monster's stomach, he participates in a game called Gastral Giveaway. So, that seemingly senseless question from Kinger was Gooseworks making a reference to another work. Another interesting detail is that the blue monster is also a kind of monarch with its own crown. Speaking of a blue king, we can say that there are not one, but two characters in the Digital Circus episode with these same characteristics. The first one is, of course, Kinger, and the second one is actually an unknown character for now who is identical to Kinger but with a red royal outfit, standing at one of the doors in the corridor with a big X over him. We can even say that there might have been some kind of inspiration, as these characters were created by the same mind, right? If you watch The Incredible Digital Circus and like Jax, you can be sure you're not the only one. During our investigations, we found the original concept of the character, and we can see that he underwent some changes between the initial art and the sadistic Jax we see in the episode. In fact, his ears would have been thinner and pointier, and his head would have been slightly smaller. This was modified to make his semi-sinister smile more visible, making the character even more charismatic and beloved by fans of the series. And here's a creepy detail about Jax: he's practically always smiling. It's as if this is one of the unchangeable aspects of his appearance, which is actually what gives a little of his psychotic air that the crowd likes so much. But you probably don't know that in the sketches of the character made by its creator, there is an image in which he has his mouth completely open and with pointed teeth and a face that he is going to attack someone, in the best Crazy Rabbit style. We can also see Pomni without her harlequin hat, with short hair, as we see in the series. In fact, it doesn't change much, but it's interesting to see how she looks without the appearance of a circus performer, even though that's not the original appearance of the person behind Pomni in the real world. Furthermore, we can see that there are 4 types of characters that make up the residents of the place. The first group involves characters originally from the circus, such as Kaufmo and Pomni. Others are somewhat abstract characters like Gangle, Zubul, and Kinger, who are different pieces that come together. Gangle has her body as a ribbon and her head represented by 2 masks. There are the dolls, like Regatta, who is a rag doll, and another doll we see taking a bath in a bathtub. And finally, there are characters with animal appearances like Jax, the psychotic and fun rabbit, being the last remaining one. But besides him, we can see that there are some others who have either been eliminated or gone insane. There are strong indications that in the upcoming episodes of the Digital Circus, we will have other characters with animal appearances joining the tent. This is because we found the original designs of all the characters that appeared in the pilot episode of the series, as well as characters who have not appeared at any moment yet. Some of them are animals, like a slender frog and a butterfly. But that's not all we've discovered. Originally, Kane, the circus host, would have his eyes on top of his dentures, and not inside them, which honestly would be much scarier. Another interesting tidbit about the Digital Circus is that in the series launch teaser, we see the hallway with rooms for the so-called guests of the place. If you look closely, you'll notice that from that perspective, there are 18 rooms, 9 on each side of the hallway. This might give a hint about the maximum number of unhappy people who can be in the Digital Circus at the same time. If you also enjoyed the Incredible Digital Circus, comment below #Jax so we can know who else liked this sinister character. Another little known fact is that all the characters in the Incredible Digital Circus are adults. except for Kane, who is actually an artificial intelligence, and the Bubble, which is his companion that eats digital vomit. Since we know you want to know the age of all the characters, here you go. The oldest is Kinger, who is 48 years old, and almost 50. Regatta is the second oldest at 30, Gangle is 26, Pomni, the main character, is 25 years old. Both Jax and Zooble are 22 years old. Since we talked about Zooble, we also discovered that she wasn't the only character created with that Mr. Potato Head style design, with parts that can be detached and swapped. There is another character with the same characteristics, which was created and may appear in the series at some point. It looks like Zooble, but is slightly different, with a twisted and elongated connection between the trunk and the hips, and his head looks like a cigar. Another sinister character that may appear in future episodes of The Incredible Digital Circus is a kind of small clown with a creepy and smiling demeanor, giving off a very dark vibe. He may look like a baby, but from what we've seen, only adults enter the tent, which means that appearances in this animation can and will be deceptive. Another curious aspect of the series is that it seems that none of the characters have physiological needs like sleep or food since they are digital constructs. But not only that, they also don't feel pain, as we can see in the teaser for the pilot episode, where Regatta has a butcher's cleaver in her head and is still smiling, and how Pomni appears after Kane hits her with several knives in a circus show. But there is actually one moment when we realize that the participants of the digital circus can feel pain. This happens when Regatta, who seems to have been infected by the crazy Kaufmo virus, crawls up to Kane's feet and says she's in a lot of pain. In other words, it appears that the tent's inhabitants only feel pain when they are affected by some kind of digital bug. Another curiosity, which is actually something Kane said and is somewhat interpretive, is that he has hundreds of eyes everywhere. But that's not true, as he doesn't even notice when the crazy Kaufmo starts destroying everything in the tent. In this case, the most logical interpretation would be that those eyes actually refer to us, the viewers who are watching the show. And it's not hundreds of eyes, but actually millions. Remember that character, the doll in a bathtub that Pomni sees when she opens the door? Well, he also has a name, even if it's not mentioned in the series. Dr. Football. Why is he called that? We have no idea yet. But one thing we do know, Regatta, the doll that inhabits the tent, has a rather macabre origin and inspiration. The cursed doll Annabelle, but not the one in the movie, the real one that is still in the Museum of Cursed Objects to this day. Yes, we are talking about the one with its own movie franchise and inhabited by an evil spirit. There is a clear reference to biblical archetypes throughout the animation. The first of them is the name of the artificial intelligence called Cain, one of the sons of Adam and Eve, the first couple created by God, who was also the first murderer in history because, out of jealousy, he ended up killing his younger brother named Abel. In fact, at a certain moment in the episode, when Pomni is trying to escape, we see a company logo on a wall, represented by the letters C and A, which are the initials of Cain and Abel. Is it a coincidence? We're pretty sure it's not. But this is not the only reference to biblical passages in The Incredible Digital Circus, as if you look closely, you'll notice that the final scene of the episode, with everyone sitting at the table for a meal, strongly resembles the scene of Jesus' Last Supper with his apostles. These were the 22 insane curiosities we brought to you today about The Incredible Digital Circus. And since we know that the fun never ends, whether in the digital circus or here, we've selected these two videos for you to keep enjoying. I heard that the one on the right is really cool.